Okay, so for this one, neither of these, as we e to the x or cosine to the x, as we keep taking the derivative, will go to 0, so we cannot use the tabular trick. So we go back to integration by parts, and we choose our u using limit. Our e for exponent is the first thing that comes up, so we let u be e to the x, and dv is going to be everything else, which is cosine d to the x, okay? Again, we're supposed to have this green part memorized. We were given this left-hand side, which is this orange box. It's in a box for a reason because we're going to use it later. And now we're going to rewrite it as this right-hand side. So this orange box is the same thing as this right-hand side, okay? So we go through our same steps. Our u is e to the x. du would be the derivative of that, which is itself. dv, to find v, we have to do the antiderivative. We have cosine, and cosine, you think sine, and now you go back and check yourself. The derivative of sine is cosine, so it works out, okay? So now we use our little green thing, and we rewrite it as the right-hand side. So we have u, which is e to the x, times sine, minus the integral of our v, which is sine x, times e to the x dx, okay? So what you notice here is that sine, cosine, and e to the x, as you keep taking the derivative or antiderivative, it's just going to keep cycling. So our goal is to take the integral until we get back to this box, and then we can solve for it, okay? So this purple box that I have here, we're actually going to do integration by parts again. So we choose our u with limit. So again, we have our e, and then we have our du. Okay, and then we have our du, which is going to be e to the x dx. Our dv is the remainder, which is sine x dx. Okay, so let's work backwards. We have cosine x. So the derivative of cosine is negative sine. There's not a negative, so we tack on a negative, okay? So now we use this information to rewrite this purple box as the right-hand side of this green, okay? So we already have this e to the x sine x, so I'm going to write that. We have a minus. Because we have a minus, we need to go ahead and use brackets because we're about to separate it into multiple parts. So now this purple box right here is now the same thing as what's inside of these orange brackets, okay? So that's going to be u, which is e to the x, times v. That negative, I tacked it in the front, cosine x, plus, it's not usually plus, it's a minus, right? So minus the integral of v, but because this v is negative, that's where the plus is coming from, times du, which is e to the x dx, okay? So now, from here to get rid of brackets, sorry about that. So from here to get rid of brackets, first we check the power, there isn't one, and then we distribute. So we distribute this negative to both of our parts. So this right here becomes a positive, and this one right here becomes a negative, okay? So now, again, remember that this entire thing that we have found is the same thing as our original problem that we were solving. So I'm setting it equal to our original problem, okay? So now, from here, what we're going to do, you see that these are the exact same thing, right? So what I'm going to do is add this to the other side. So plus this, which is going to make 2 on the right-hand side, okay? So this has disappeared to the other side, and we're left with this, okay? These are two things. They both have e to the x, so I decided to factor it out. You don't have to factor it out if you don't want to. I don't know why I did it. I just factored it out, okay? So we have e to the x, and then sine plus cosine x, okay? And then because we've moved this by adding it to the other side, we have 2 of them. Okay, we do not want to have 2 of them. Our goal was to find 1 of them. So to get rid of the 2, we just divide, and that would be the final answer. And then tack on the plus c because we are not evaluating it from an integral.